I don't know. I think also like there's times where I definitely got stuck. Do you know what I mean? Like you keep auditioning for something, and I had a series regular in the Parker Andersons, which was amazing, and they thought it was going to go on for multiple seasons, and then it stopped, and then you go through those lulls, and it's in the lulls when I used to get really down. Like I just would be like, wow, like my life feels like it's in the hands of everyone else. And I think that as I, understood the industry more, I just was like, oh my God, why am I waiting for other people to do things for me? I think as long as I continue to follow my passion and the things that I love, and I share that with people and hope that they do the same, then something is going to land. The right things are gonna land right in your pocket because you're becoming more authentic and true to who you are, so that someone's gonna find it.
Welcome back to the DNA Podcast. I am your host, Douglas Nyback. This is Wild, episode 40 of our podcast, 40. DNA Podcast is where you go to learn what artists and industry professionals are made of, hence the DNA thing. I'm fascinated by the stories, if you're new here, by the way, I'm fascinated by the stories of actors who are really in it, actors and industry professionals who are really, really in it, who are by so many metrics successful, but perhaps aren't on that other side of the fame hump yet, where we're just trying to figure out how to really build a career and the lessons that you learn when you're in the trenches, actively in the trenches. And our guest today for episode 40 is none other than Devin Cecchetto, who plays young Evelyn Goodwin in The Way Home, which season 4 is dropping April 19th, which I believe, yes, is a couple of days before this episode drops, which is fantastic. So you can check it out. It's a super, super great show. She's also in Wayward, which is an incredible Toni Collette series that you should really check out on Netflix. Really, really good stuff. Anyway, Devin is also a heckin' recording artist. She's a fabulous pop singer, and all of her stuff is freaking bangers. She's really cool. She's like a bundle of energy, but also so grounded in who she is. And this conversation, her public-facing persona is so energetic and so bright that it was so cool to see how that manifests in this person who's so grounded in her own energy and so clear on who she is. This became this fascinating conversation about her and her process and her dreams and her aspirations and successes and failures and challenges. And it's a really, really fascinating episode. Incredibly talented actor, incredibly talented musical artist. Big fan of her as a person. And I'm so excited for you to dive into this episode and also hopefully check out her shows. Also, need to very quickly just say thanks for being here. And if you're new here, please click like and subscribe wherever you find us. If you're on Spotify or Apple, brief thank you to a couple of our partners. There's going to be more about them later, but Othership, which is a contrast therapy sauna cold plunge space in Toronto and New York City. I do cold plunging and sauna every week. It's like my Friday ritual. I got sober a few years ago. I've talked about it at length, and it kind of replaced the Friday bar for me. I freaking love it, and I highly recommend that you check it out if you haven't already. First timers, there's links in the bio. You get 2 for 1 if you're a first timer there, or you can use code Douglas Nyback for 11% off. And it's super great. So check out Othership. And Fancy Face, Brittany Gray is a client and friend of mine. She's an actor. She's been building her business for 20 years. It's a makeup and skincare brand that's really dialed into artists, actors, dancers, and in her whole world, she's like very much in the acting dance culture. Also is on the Next Step Cheer, which is cool. So everything that she has built is kind of geared towards that and your on-camera presence. So I highly recommend you check her out. 20% discount code in the doobly-doo. More about them later. Appreciate you very much. And without further ado, let's heckin' dive into this podcast. It's a great episode, and I'm really happy that you're here. And I'm just gonna get into it. First off, thanks for being here.
Of course, thank you.
It's cool because we don't know each other at all. We've never met.
No.
Usually when I have people on the pod, it's like in some way tangentially in the industry, I've like met them at some point or worked with them. And for you, it's like brand new, which is very exciting to me. And I gotta say, I did a little bit of a deep dive in your work, and you're super good at something that I'm very bad at. And I want to give you a really specific compliment. Get ready, it's real specific.
Okay.
Specifically, I was watching your Wayward episode, and there's like a low-key, incredibly difficult skill of being grounded and naturalistic while also being the hype girl in a situation or
Yes.
hype guy. Like, I always feel incredibly, I've been doing this for like freaking 25 years professionally, and I always feel so self-conscious. And I was watching you in that episode be like the party girl and just like be totally and completely present and grounded. And I was just like blown away by it. I'm like, how is she making this look so easy? Because it's so goddamn hard.
Oh,
Anyway,
thank you so much.
I know that's so specific, but I
No,
was
it's very
I gotta
specific.
tell her.
I think something that's interesting about that is like I unfortunately from the beginning of time have been the party girl.
Okay.
Like it kind of is in me. I've got a lot of like phonetic energy, and the one thing it's so interesting. Like I think that I vibrate really fast, if that makes sense. I also talk really fast. But I did theater. Like I started in front of audiences, and so there has to be this feeling of like, I don't know, I'm sure everyone feels it, like those nerves that's bubbling, but then to like pinpoint and remember, like especially if you're doing like a show that's like 3 hours long, right?
Yeah.
You have to find that groundedness, but you are finding that kinetic energy. So it's kind of exactly where I always function. And I just now have found the niche. Like I didn't know for the longest time. I always tried to be like the cool girl that's speaking slow and whatever, but I constantly just have this bubbling energy inside of me that I cannot get rid of. So it's actually just like, this is me, you know?
And was that a life thing before you started acting as well? Or was that something that like, because correct me if I'm wrong, but you started in musical theater?
Yes.
So is that something that like came about as you explored that genre of performance, or was it something that you just like have always had as your natural energy and you're starting to really embrace it now?
I think if you met my parents, then you'd realize that they're like crazy personalities, and both of them are like crazy phonetic energy. So I think it just like, it's always run in my family. Just like that kind of like wanting to pull people together, wanting to have a good time, but then also like grounding inside of a conversation and really talking to somebody. But I can feel my energy like moving, you know what I mean? I have a little bit of ADHD. So it's like something that's like always been within me. Sometimes when I'm watching a show, I'm also doing other things. When I was in school, like I was yapping. And like, yeah, I've just always had like those two different sides of me, and learning how to like combine them together to like exist in this world.
Right.
And then now being like, oh, like it is actually a really interesting trait that a lot of people don't have. And so there are characters now that I can find that work with the energy of that, you know?
Yeah, that's I'm always really interested in the journey that actors have to their superpowers, because so often I think the things that end up being one of the things that like set us apart within the industry are things that we often kind of on or view as bad characteristics early on in our lives.
Yeah.
And it's interesting hearing you talk about like finding that and finding that that is actually something that you've really learned to harness, even though at times it probably could have been potentially detrimental or something that maybe you didn't like as much within yourself. I'm now putting words into your mouth.
No, not at all. I think that, yeah, it's definitely something, I mean, I guess when you're younger, how do you say, but you know, like as you're growing, then there's like women that are very grounded and speak calmly, and I just was like, I will never be that. Sure. I just was like, you know what, I can do comedy, I can belt my face off. I just know that I exist with a lot of energy, and maybe for a little bit I was like, damn, like I'm not gonna be a cool girl. I never was a cool girl.
Right.
But that's okay. But yeah, when I first moved into doing more film work, which kind of really started happening in 2020 when everything shut down. So I really was on the track of like, I want to be on Broadway, I'm going in that direction. And then when everything shut down, then my agent was like, hey Devin, like, do you want to try and do some film? And the biggest thing that I thought was like kind of scary for me was this idea of like, I am a big personality.
Right.
I talk big, I move big, and I was trained in theater, which is supposed to like speak to a bunch of people. So I've always been training myself to be so big, right? So I was like, I don't know, with film, like I don't know how to take myself back. And so I think I started to, like, I thought that I was being like minute, but I was really just like deadpanning things because I was scared to be myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens to a lot of people coming from theater to film.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, like as much as I would say a line like this and mean it, like it would be real, well, is that going to read on camera because it's huge? So then I could kind of pull it back and be like, I'm saying a line like this because it's real, right?
Yeah.
And you're watching it back and you're like, okay, I think that this was good. And I think once I started to realize that that's like not me, and like how to actually achieve what you're trying to achieve in any field is being authentic to yourself.
Right.
So kind of just like tapping into my authenticity and then being like, listen, they're either going to love me or they're going to hate me.
Right.
That's okay. I like what you're saying. I will find the superpower inside of myself. You know, everybody will. I think that's actually like, if I could, I would love to watch people's auditions, because seeing other actors and the way that they flourish, ooh, it gives me goosebumps. It's like so exciting. Yeah. Anyways, I could talk forever.
Which is good. It's a podcast. It's the whole point. But it's I'll say that that's one of the one of the real blessings of my life, like career-wise, as like a coach and producer, is having had access to like so many different actors and their processes, and learning to work within like, all right, so what is your take of this? Because everybody's superpowers do manifest in slightly different ways, and also helping actors discover those things is like so rewarding, because so often they're also the things that we are taught are wrong.
Yes.
Because I come from musical theater as well.
Oh my gosh.
And the like training that I got out of the gate, albeit very useful, like going into film and television, was like, you're too big, which just creates these complexes in actors, and certainly created a complex in me, and leads to things like just making yourself boring in order to fit the frame, right?
Yeah.
It's funny. I do think that like the narrative around individuality in acting training like needs to change, and I try to change it, where it's like, all right, this does need to translate. Like, we got to put it into the medium, but like, it's not about big or small. It's about like finding how this manifests in you and how you do it in a way that translates the way it needs to, rather than thinking in terms of size or like trying to shut somebody down.
For sure. Yeah, I think also like something that's interesting is like going through, like, I have a degree in music theater, which is crazy. So like 4 years of my life. I went to Sheridan.
Sick.
And before that, I went to Etobicoke School of the Arts for 4 years.
Oh,
so
dang,
I did like
you're one of those.
8 years
Nice. All right.
of music theater training, which is wild. And like when I finished my high school, then that's when my agent had first come to me, and I was like, no, like, or actually at the beginning of high school, my agent came to me and I was like, no, I want to have like a regular high school career. Regular high school career at Etobicoke School of the Arts. Not that regular, just gonna put it out there.
No, it's kind of like an episode of Glee to a degree, yeah.
Yes, and especially at that time, I think the year that I auditioned, then Lady Gaga was on the news, and so it was like the most people had ever auditioned and stuff like that. So it was like a really big hype thing at that time, which I think was hilarious. And then being through the trials and tribulations of being around everybody who's very talented and seeing where people go, and a lot of people didn't at the end of it want to pursue music theater. But for myself, I was like, I had auditioned for Ryerson and UTM and a lot of just like straight acting things.
Yeah.
But I was like, I cannot let go of my singing, and I can't let go of dance either, just because, yeah, it's not gonna fuel me. I know that they always say like jack of all trades is a master of none, but the end of that is actually, but wait, what is it? Jack of all trades is a master of none, but it's better than being a master of one.
Interesting.
That's the end of that.
I've never heard the entire phrase.
Yes. And so I remember thinking about that and being like, well, do I want to just laser focus on acting? And then I was like, actually, I think this would be way more helpful for me, because I do have ADHD and I like am all over the place anyways, to have this regimen where I get to do a bunch of things and be really good and feel really good about a bunch of things.
Right.
So I enjoyed my training at Sheridan. But even still, it is one of those things of like, you're getting teachers telling you what is good and bad. And I don't think that in this world, you can't go and sing a song and someone be like, that's an A+. I just don't think that there's a way to grade someone's talent and what they're good at.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of the people that followed me in that program, they kind of dropped off near the end, mostly also just because COVID hit as we all graduated. So everyone was like, what am I going to do? But it wrecked a lot of people's egos.
Sure.
And I think because I had already been through 4 years of a high school that was already grading me on my talent, I just was like, it doesn't matter. I don't really, like, what the teachers are saying is great, and I love the structure, and I love the training, and it's more about, honestly, the people that I'm with and watching the way that they are improving and they are working.
And also their mistakes.
Yeah, or like, but like, how are they getting to that? And I wouldn't have thought about it that way, and that's so interesting. So like studying my classmates was like so beautiful and amazing. But yeah, I definitely was like, I don't really care what people are saying or like what that means. Like a B to an A, it's not meaning anything. How did I feel? And I think that that's something that really helped me is like when you are doing an audition, like yesterday I just had a call back for something, and it's one of those things of like, you know, you do it and it's over and you're like, and then you're like, okay, how do I feel though? Do I feel like I achieved the things that I needed to achieve in that?
Right.
Everything was word perfect. I was grounded. I said my hellos great. And I think that that's what the training of going to school does help with, is just like allowing you to step back and be like, none of this is judgment. It doesn't matter what anybody else is thinking about what you're doing in your life or your career or what you're doing with yourself. How do you feel about the way that you're approaching every situation in your life and every audition? And then just, that's great. It's a check in your box. You know what I mean? So that's cool. I don't know. Also, I hate Zoom callbacks. I'm just gonna say that.
Zoom callbacks are tough. They're really tough. It's a very unintimate way to have what needs to be a pretty intimate experience. Like, and I don't mean like romantically intimate, but I mean like the connection between two people. Like that is the most important part of a callback, a director-producer session, and that is harder to do, you know, in a Zoom format. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you have that awareness of like checking in. How do I feel? I often gauge my success or failure by the same metric. It's like, do I feel like I actually went through the thing that I needed to go through? Like, because so often it's like the vast majority of scripts are about unpleasant things, and then we finish an audition and we're like, oh, I feel unpleasant, and we're like, I must have fucked up. As opposed to being like, or do I actually just feel like I went through the thing?
I stepped into the character and I did what I was supposed to do.
And now I'm dealing with the emotional or intellectual, you know, aftermath of that. And then do I have like a memory of it happening? And did I say the right shit? And did I, you know, like, did I come off as a psychopath when I was saying hi to people? No, all right, I'm good, right? Like, and that becoming more of the measure of success rather than like a good or bad metric, because it's so subjective. You're totally correct. And I come like I went to AMDA.
Okay.
Like 1,000 years before you went to musical theater school, but I went to AMDA, and also the same. It was very like, you know, pass fail GPA, like scholarships based on GPA, all that shit. And one thing that I will say is that it almost functions like the military, in that it's like they have to tell you everything you're doing is wrong, so that they, you know, and there is a stripping people down. Yeah. Because let's face it, a bunch of like 16-year-olds who have done community theaters in like Pahrump, Nevada their whole lives, like they're coming to it with a bunch of bad habits as well. Yeah. But eventually that whole, there's a numerical way that we can quantify this really starts reaching a point of diminishing returns. Yeah. And I think it's before graduation. Like I you know, like I think it's a really good metric early. And then it's like, well, yeah, you can't like, you're not watching like the original Broadway cast of Wicked being like, okay, B- today, Christian.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you're not, you know, like it's not like that. It's like, is it affecting the audience? Is it doing the things that it needs to do? Like kind of yes or no, right? Yeah. I'm curious because also this idea of the jack of all trades is a master of none, and I just want to get that last part. And it's better than being a master of one. That's really cool. I like that a lot because I've always had my hands in a lot of pies, and I'm interested with you. Because I think increasingly the industry being multifaceted has become way more fucking useful than being just like dialed in on one thing. And all you need to do is look at Timothy Schimmel-Shammel's face when he didn't win. I'm just kidding, Timothy Schimmel-Shammel, you're very good at it. But it's like...
yeah, it's crazy that we're doing this podcast after the Oscars. Yeah, like there's so much.
Yeah.
Okay, but...
but I do think that increasingly now, nobody knows where the next thing is going to hit. No. And so being able to like pivot into other things, I think has become increasingly important because the stream of distribution is branching off and you never know which one is going to take off.
No, it's
like,
real.
And so I'm curious with you because again, in doing a bit of a deep dive in your life and your choices, it's okay, we've got noise canceling on that.
Okay.
It's just
I was like, what is that?
Yeah, it's an old building, their radiators.
Oh my God, okay.
But in doing a deep dive in your stuff, so you're building a music career at the same time that you're starting to like really book a lot more and really great. And so I'm curious how like, is this something that you're coming out with a plan? Is this something that you're like, you have specific goals in mind? Or are you just like, I ball, and you're just like going across all of it. I'm super
I think that I think the fact of me choosing to not let go of my singing and honestly, the reason why singing is so important to me is because my nonna sang opera to me when she was really young. And so this all started with me singing opera. Like they would have, like I did the Canadian Children's Opera Company, but if they had like these big operas and they needed a little kid to come on set and do like 14 bars, 8 bars, then I'd be there singing. And I remember listening to these big, big booming voices and being like, oh my God, I want a big voice like that.
Right.
And when I was little, everyone used to say like, oh my God, you're such a tiny person with such a big voice.
Right.
And so before people knew me for acting, anybody like that, I used to sing in my backyard. All our neighbors would come around. Like everyone knew me as a singer.
That's nice.
I used to like sing "O Canada" for our school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think everybody was kind of like, Devin, like you're going into acting, like you're going to give up your music stuff. And I was like, I guess right now I don't know, just because at that time, like music theater didn't seem like the in thing. And I'm not saying that you have to be always chasing the in thing. I would say though, I do like trends. Like I love what's trendy. And I do find that like if you do hop on that trend properly, then you're going to succeed more.
Right.
So I'd say that I very much like to study that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I enjoy the idea of marketing.
Yeah.
I see like being an actor, you also have to be a little bit more of a salesperson too, and like understanding who you are and what you're selling. So I kind of got to a point where I was like, okay, if I'm doing like film now, how am I gonna get like this music aspect in? And it was really scary at first. I remember meeting with producers and being like, what do I write? And I think right now I have like 5 singles out. I went down to LA for a bit. I've got like maybe like 25 songs that I've made and written. I love the process of like sitting in a studio for like 8 to 10 hours and like diving into stuff, starting with a beat, having a concept. And I think that like, I remember, it was like 2023 when there was the actor strike and the writer's strike.
Yes.
And nothing was happening. And I think that's when I went, I think that if I wanted to start making music, now would be a great time to understand what these gears are like. Because what else am I doing? So that's when I was down in LA and I just was trying to reach out to everybody and anyone. Like sometimes it's scary. I'm just like a sweet little girl, renting my car and like going to someone's studio.
Right.
And sometimes, like it's scary to be in a room with a man that you don't know, making music, especially down in LA. It's like sometimes a different culture. But navigating that and understanding like, okay, that was not good, this one's better. And so by now, I definitely have my producers that I definitely like to work with.
Right.
But then trying to train myself to be like, okay, but what does this feel like now that I've made a song? What does it feel like to put it out? And I remember my first song, Gone, I like made a little cute, I had a single release party and I made like cookies that I used fondant on, and it said Gone on them. Everyone was excited about the cookies, and we played the song, and I just was like, damn, like, I put all this hype, and I just released the song, and that's it. Yeah. What am I supposed to do next? And so it's been like a while of trying to navigate and ask people questions. Like, it's like starting from zero, honestly. It's like, I learned about theater and music theater. I learned about acting, started booking acting stuff. Now I'm learning about music. Yeah. And it's just like the way that my brain works. So now at this point, I think fantasy did really, really well, where I'm like a fairy in a forest. Yeah. That was really funny. I don't know why. I don't know. I think that I don't question anything.
Right.
When I want to do something, I just do it, and I flow with whatever that is. So made fantasy, and I was like, this feels good. And then I just kind of connected with people, and they were like, what if you're a fairy in a forest? And I was like, let's do it. Okay. Right. With Supersonic Girl, I don't know, I was like, this feels spacey. And I was like, let's try and make something about this. Now it's tapped into me. I really enjoy making music videos because I would at some point love to direct things. And so understanding how things are shot and being with a team, like Supersonic Girl, we had 50 people on set and everyone had their jobs and I was navigating how to do things. It's just my brain's working in every direction all the time. So I don't know what fuels it. I don't know what fuels what my next direction is. Right. But when I feel the come up of I need to jump now and do this, then I go, you know?
And then you're all in.
Yeah, then I'm all in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. The friend of mine, Connor Price, like old client of mine. He also like COVID happened, and then he just started putting out clips and skits like rap, like hip hop skits, and then now has exploded into like one of the biggest creators. Like it's insane how that world, the whole world of music, and video and how it's transformed the way that like unknown artists can, like I feel like my entire Spotify is just people that I found on TikTok.
Yeah.
You know, and it's and it's fascinating and it's interesting because it's like I've been around long enough to see that this is all derivative of like the best way to get a movie used to be to get a Broadway show, right? And then the best way, and then it became like the best way to get a Broadway show now is to be famous in film and television and movies, you know, and it's like, because they're just trying to get butts and seats, but like everything always hands off to something else. And so I'm always really interested to chat with artists who are doing multifaceted things, because for you, to me, it like makes complete sense that as such a talented actor and as somebody who came up through musical theater, that like that the performing arts side of it, i.e. the creation of visual in marrying with the audio, that makes total sense. And it's also one of those things that you just like don't realize is the passion until you find it.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. I think also like there's times where I definitely got stuck. Do you know what I mean? Like you keep auditioning for something, and like I've done good leads in Lifetime movies, and I was like, okay, like I wish I was working with better scripts. And then I had a series regular in the Parker Andersons, which was amazing, and they thought it was going to go on for multiple seasons, and then it stopped. And then you go through those lulls, and it's in the lulls when I used to get really down. Like I just would be like, wow, like my life feels like it's in the hands of everyone else. And I think that as I, you know, understood the industry more, I just was like, oh my God, why am I waiting for other people to do things for me? I think as long as I continue to follow my passion and the things that I love, and I share that with people and hope that they do the same, then something is going to land. The right things are going to land right in your pocket because you're becoming more authentic and true to who you are, so that someone's going to find it. I just did an audition, which I don't know, but like she's a singer in it. Okay. And I'm like, that's amazing. And that's something also that I was like, even if I'm putting out music and it doesn't blow up, some casting director is going to see that I sing, and I would love to play a role that she gets to sing. That would be amazing. And then maybe through that, people are like, oh, wow, she sings, and then they'll go back and check out my music. So it's like this ongoing overlap of, I feel like I'm kind of stepping ahead. You have to manifest what you're looking for, but I'll think about like, what character do I actually want to play? Right. How can I demonstrate that every single day in my life, that that's who I want to become, like who I want to step into? So it's kind of also what I do a little bit. Cool. Like think about kind of the roles that I would want and then kind of act that into my life. Right. Which is weird.
Okay, that's not weird. All right, y'all, I want to take a hot sec to talk about Fancy Face and Brittany Gray. Brittany Gray is an actor who has been at this for a really long time. She was actually like a client of mine years and years and years ago, like when I first started coaching. And she went and she built this whole thing. She created this this makeup brand. She does custom consultations. The products she has created are incredible. She's local Toronto. Supporting her was an absolute no-brainer because the product is amazing. She is amazing. What she's building is amazing. And we're going to be doing future collaborations with her where we're going to be giving away like makeup looks, like essentially you go to her and she'll build your ideal self-tape look, all sorts of cool stuff. So that's all in the future. She's really cool. She's also given us an amazing 20% off of all of her products and services using the code DNA Pod. Links are in the description down below. I highly recommend you chat with Brittany and her team and dive into her world because man, it's cool. She's cool. And now we're going to get back to the show. So I'm curious, like when it comes to like the way that you're talking about this, it's like it seems like you have some pretty well thought out like belief systems around your journey and direction within the industry. Like you seem to be pretty clear and sure about yourself, and I understand like that is always an ever changing and shifting thing, you know. So I'm curious, is that something that you've really consciously cultivated, like a pretty clear sense of self, or is this something that's just evolved over time? I know it might be a weird thing to think about objectively about yourself, but I'm curious.
I don't know. I think it just like goes back to like my family, the way that my parents always talked to me, and these were just like dinner time, sitting around the table questions, kind of like, who are you? What am I? Kind of like getting to the philosophy and psychology of everything. So I feel like that is something that like my parents have always asked of me. Right. And so therefore now throughout my adult life, I ask it for myself as well. Right. But I also just think that like, if you are stepping into different roles as an actor, like sometimes you can get lost, you know, like not to say that like this, I don't like the idea of the method and stuff like that, but I think that there are some times where, you know, you step into something and next thing like you want to be inside of that psyche so much that then it kind of like becomes attached to you. And understanding that like that's okay. Like I think that I change a lot. I'm very fluid. I'm very malleable, which is great for taking on characters. But also, yeah, I think I need to be very clear and in check with myself just because things will stick to me. Even like meeting new people, that also sticks to me sometimes too. So I think that I've had to be better at being like, okay, let's like come back to our grounding. Who are you?
Yeah.
What are our goals, and like move forward, you know?
Do you mind if I ask you to say more about that idea of things sticking to you? Because I think that's really quite interesting.
Yeah.
Just to get it a little more in your own words. Oh, by the way, feel free to have water. I don't know.
Yeah,
we
water's
told you
good.
that was for you.
Thank you.
But I should have done that.
No. Yeah. I guess. How do I? There was this one role that I played where, I don't know, I say that I was a demon that a demon took over my body, and then I in turn had to have sex with somebody on screen, which is totally okay multiple times. But also when it's that skin to skin contact, then there's like certain emotions that are going to come through. And then after that process, like I don't know why that character stuck to me so much. Not that it was, but it's also like when you're on a film set and it's shooting for a month and you're around those people, then people start to take on their characters as well. So now you're not even meeting the person, you're meeting the character. So now because this functioning family of this movie that we're trying to create is now acting not like their person, but like their character, then inevitably you're set acting like your character. So as much as like, it's not like it's a lot of time that I had to be this person, but now for some reason I'm acting like this person because other people are asking that of me. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's a bit of it's a bit derivative of the like we teach others how to treat us.
Yes.
And on a film set, it's so clearly defined by, like for actors anyway, for our characters. It's like I'm on a show right now that like we're shooting episode 22 of 22 for this season right now, and it's like, you know, the cam ops and everybody call us like Dr. Douglas, Dr. you know, like and it's like we're actually referred to as our characters, and like for us it's all super normal, but it's also like, oh yeah, right, like it's like the lines just get kind of blurred, especially for actors. I think.
They do.
Yeah.
And so even like on the way home as Evelyn Goodwin, like it's not only, it's so, I don't know, like there, for some reason, these relationships start to build themselves off of a platform because not only do you want people to see you as a character, you also want people who are watching the show to see you as a character. That's the whole point of acting. Yeah. But now your colleagues are going to start seeing you as that character. Yeah. So trying to understand where people sit in your worlds, I mean, I love to like make friends on set and then take them home, like make those friends and take them home with me and then have a life with them, kind of, you know what I mean?
In your basement
in my
right
reality.
Now.
No, take them home with me.
Begging for water.
No, but what I'm saying is that I'm like, oh my God, these are great friends and I love them and stuff like that. But there are these weird preconceived notions where I'm like, well, I know that you play XYZ and that person behaves this way. And so then trying to understand the nuances of like, oh, that was the character, but this is actually who you are. So you are dealing with like these layers to people, but then also layers to yourself. And when you do book certain characters, like for example, Evelyn, she is like this beautiful effervescent spirit that's like full of wonder and magic. And I love that so much. And I can pull that part out of me. And I'm so grateful that I booked Evelyn because I like her energy. I love Evelyn's energy, and I would love to live in her energy for a long time just because she is beautiful. She's like a beautiful little buzzing angel fairy. It's interesting. I actually had auditioned for to play the mean girl in Carrie, and they saw me a couple times, and I remember after doing those auditions and the callbacks and stuff like that, I turned to my boyfriend and I was like, as much as this would be huge for me, I don't think I want to be this person. Right. And he was like, well, what do you mean? And I was like, it's just saying these words and having to mean them. Yeah. And they're so mean, it's gonna hurt me a lot. And if I have to film this for however many months, for how many years, it's not about being perceived as like an evil
Yeah.
right, by the community. That's okay, or like by people that are watching it. It's literally like, I know that that is now going to be attached to me more. As much as like whatever, every so often you flip at somebody, whatever.
Yeah.
But this is like going to be more in my upper end of emotion than I would want it to be, and I don't want to be that person. So I don't know. It's really strange. I do think that the things that are meant for you come to you. So when things pass through, then you're like, oh, okay, that was like a good opportunity that was missed because this new one gets to kind of show itself up.
Right.
And yeah, I'd say that I loved stepping into Evelyn. She is really cool and special. And I also think that like the fans really love Evelyn, which feels really cool too, to then be like, yeah, it feels nice to have people being like, your character meant so much to me. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, you don't know who I am. And it would be too much to understand all the levels because every human is so intricate and depth and full of depth. But it's cool that I stepped into this character that actually did have all this depth and people enjoyed every aspect of it, you know? And we'll continue to in the next season. But that's also just like really good writing. Heather and Alex are phenomenal writers and they've done such a good job at making sure that everybody has such an elaborate story and it just feels like community. And it also feels like, I don't know, since we're both from a theater background, when you step into a show, like you're with people for like 6 months and you need them every night to be their best just as much as you're gonna be your best. And I think that like the way that The Way Home was made was so much like that. Like you need every aspect and character of that show. The time travel and understanding how everyone's interconnected, it's crazy. Yeah, it's so cool when you join something and it does feel like a family. Then you're like, damn, these people like they feel good for me, you know? Like this is a good place to be in. But I also don't really know that. Like they have changed because of their character too. So the person that they started up with at the beginning of the series, they're a different person now. Not just their character, but they are a different person now who understands different things and does things differently. You know what I mean? Like you're changed by your roles, which is kind of maybe creepy for people who aren't actors to understand, but you would agree, right?
Yeah, I would say, I think that that's probably the actors that I admire most come at it from the standpoint of like, rather than saying, this is what I think is gonna happen, they enter in being like, I've never experienced this before, and we're gonna experience it together.
Yes.
And in any situation where you're operating like that, you are being changed. And that to me is less about, like, because there's a lot of like pretentious and or like on the internet side of it, like negative, like whether it's like actors being like, oh yes, the role changed me, or the, you know, Twitter being like, whatever, these, you know, just like raging on characters. I think removed from any of that, I think what acting does is it speed runs life experience, and life experience changes you. And that's just the way it is. And that's like, you know, some actors turn that into a brand, you know, like the Jared Leto's of the world mailing rats to people and all, and like, you know, like, or the like Daniel Day-Lewis's not allowing anybody to mention anything after friggin' Lincoln was killed, even though the cameras are pretty fucking new, Daniel. You know, those things, whatever you got to do to get where you got to go.
Yeah.
But I think regardless the life experience that you have, like even just in this conversation, this is one of the reasons why I started the podcast. It's like, again, you and I were talking about this a little bit when the cameras were off, but we don't know each other. But in meeting each other for the first time, we're having like a pretty like intimate one-on-one conversation. Like we're getting to know each other. Like we're speed running like who we are to each other.
Yes.
So we're gonna walk away from this changed.
Yes.
Like, and my understanding of you is gonna change way more because of this hour and a half than it would with like 2 years of casual like bumping into each other at industry events.
Yes.
And that just makes sense. So of course you're gonna be changed. And I to me, that's like one of my favorite things. Like I have become pretty addicted to that.
Yes.
I will say
there is an addiction and like an adrenaline to like, like honestly taking on a scene or having to be placed there. I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but in The Way Home, Jordan, who is Colton, who Evelyn is madly in love with. And I love Jordan. He's like such a beautiful, amazing friend. I'm so happy I met him on the set. But the moment that we had to step into those characters and all of a sudden you have to have this, the audience has to have this understanding that Evelyn has been in love with Colton since the beginning of time and it's just like never gonna happen. And as I'm talking to him, it's so sad. And as I'm talking to him, immediately, like the first time we had to do a scene together, I had to be like, that is the love of my life. And I never get to have him. And then we get to step into that right away. And I remember after the first day of shooting with him, now it's crazy because like this has gone on for now, we've been a part of it for 2 seasons. So it's like 2 years and now our relationship is developed and we do voice memos all the time and it's so good. But I think that was the precedent of like what our relationship was going to be because we had to step into that so fast.
Yeah.
And then immediately it was like this like best friend, I've got your back till the end of time because we had to do it.
Right.
And so you can't like, I don't know. I mean, maybe there are actors that step into things and then go, okay, that was all, like I was just acting. But to me, when I want to feel something, it's going to intertwine with my reality. It just will. I don't know.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I was chatting with a client about this the other day. She was talking about like we got to the take that we wanted to, and she's just like, well, that was a lot more me. So it's like where does one begin in the other end? And I'm like, it doesn't. Like there is no you, there is no them. Like it's just this. Like and you might as well pour green dye into a glass of water and be like, well, where's the green dye and where's the water? It's like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like what an absolute waste of bandwidth.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the more that we can find ease in that, like especially like the situation that you just described there, where you're just like you're just meeting this guy. Like, and I would imagine, and I'm just seeing you in the way that you're describing that, connecting with me, and it's like, again, I go back to this idea of speed running, getting to know somebody. You just have to be like, well, what's really happening with you? Like, what's really fucking happening with you? Because I need to know that. And that to me is just like one of my favorite things when it comes to this whole gig. And I think it's so important. Earlier on, you were talking about being able to come back to yourself.
Yes.
Because in those situations, it's like any kind of addiction, any kind of like, you know, if you know, listen, I've been sober for 3 years, but I've had plenty of nights where I was drinking. And what do you do the next day? I got to stay home. I got to look at my life and my choices. I got to come back to myself because you did that thing that was like, nom, 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 nom.
Yeah.
I want that, you know, like.
I know.
And I think that acting can become that for sure.
Oh, for sure. It's very addictive. I also think like it's kind of funny because to talk about acting and what you were saying before, but people are like, we're nerds. I think it's like there's something, your brain likes the addiction of tapping into that, whatever it is, and it's something that people can try and like philosophize, yeah, for as long as they want. But who knows? I don't know where one starts and one ends. The one thing that I say, and not to bring up Timothée, but Chalamet.
I think he's a great actor.
Yeah, I think he's amazing. But what I'd say is that with this whole thing is like we loved him in Beautiful Boy, and he obviously was very sweet and very soft. And I noticed that when he started doing the promotion for Marty Supreme, I was like, what is this stuff that he's saying? I was like, he's being like very cocky. And I've never seen that from him. And so I'm like, what is going on? But then after watching Marty Supreme, I'm like, I don't know if he's purposely playing the character. I don't know if he thinks this is method acting, but he took a bit of Marty Supreme with him.
Sure.
And now he's a bit of, now he's being a bit like hardcore, heavy, look at me, I'm the best. But that's what Marty had to be. He had to be like, I'm the best and you're nothing and I'm gonna be the best ping pong player ever.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, he has now taken on some of those qualities, and I'm sure once he books his next role, he's gonna change again, right? And that's completely fine. I mean, watching him in The Complete Unknown, I was like, I love that. There's nothing wrong with this. And who he was after that movie was amazing. Right. Him after Marty Supreme, I don't know. Not that I know him personally, but from the things that I've seen, I'm a little like, oh, who is he being right now? But I think every actor, and especially like really great ones, you are going to step into something.
Sure.
You're going to have to be present with it. What you're saying, you're going to have to learn really fast. Almost you're learning someone else's life and then trying to step into it authentically and real.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to come back to your touchstone of who you are, but those things are still going to be on you.
Well, and I think, it's really easy. I think about this a lot with actors and professional athletes because people come down really hard on them. But I'm like, they're like 25.
Yeah, they're babies.
And this is a really interesting thing because this idea of, because it's easy for me to talk about coming back to myself, but like I'm 40. I didn't get into therapy till I was 34. I've been an alcoholic till I was 37, and so like I can talk a big game about finding my center, But when I was 25,
Yeah.
no fucking way. And in fact, like in my life, I'd had success, but hadn't reached those heights, let alone like a world full of people who never say no to me. Asking that person to come back to center, you know, it's like, where the fuck is center?
Yeah.
You know, and so I try to have a lot of grace around that. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I can see a TikTok about him talking about ballet, and I'm just like, all of a sudden, a fucking advocate of ballet, you know, like anybody else is.
Oh,
you know,
my
but also
God.
he didn't fucking mean it that way.
No,
he was
I
talking about
know.
he saw the life of people in his family, and he didn't want that life.
He
And
wanted
it's like,
something
by the way, I
different.
see my family, and I don't want that life. That's why I moved to Toronto and became a fucking actor. Like,
Yeah.
and not because there's anything wrong with their life. You know?
No.
So. But I do think that it's like this really interesting thing. So many actors get so successful so young, and how do you find a center if you don't know who you are? Because who knows who they are at 25?
Yeah.
You know, and you know, this is why Leonardo DiCaprio just can't stop punching bears. You know, he's never come back from that, from The Revenant. He's just out there punching bears all the time. Come back to your center, Leo.
Oh my God.
But anyway, but I do find that, like, I don't have any answers, you know, like, and I'm similar to you, where I'm like, well, I don't know who that guy is, you know, but it's like, I would imagine that he's on a journey to find out who he is.
Yeah, and we're all on a journey to find ourselves.
Yeah.
So we have to be really like, I don't know, to the people in your life and to yourself, just like graceful and be like, okay, like this is just what I know. This is all I know right now. If I knew back in 2023 the things that I know now, I would not have behaved that way, or I wouldn't have done those things. But also, like, that's okay. That's just kind of, oh, sorry.
In the mic.
She's back. Okay.
All right.
But we're all on a growing experience. We really are, through everything. Even, not to talk about what's going on in the world right now, but that's crazy. And human beings, we're always just continuously learning.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's in a circle though. Like, I don't know if it's just we're learning the exact same thing and forgetting and learning the exact same thing, but I'm hoping that we're spiraling upwards in some shape or form.
Yeah, I think like change is gradual.
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason why we're all not like dying of the Vespers and sticking leeches on people who are sick. Like, change is happening.
We're doing good.
Like, predominantly positive in a direction. You know, like, if you look back at, am I likely to go to a bar and be cleaved in two with a claymore? No, probably not. That's nice. That's a step up, society. You know, and so I do get that, but it's also hard because change is often brutal. And it weighs heavily on the soul to experience it, and very, like, we're existing in the only period of time where it feels like everybody is experiencing all the change at the same time, and that's never really been a burden that civilization has had before.
I think it's a really beautiful thing. I think it's cool that now humans have developed a way that we all can carry on us this device that connects us to everyone. I mean, obviously some of the information that we're getting in is not always correct, but I think that it's really cool that I could literally, if I wanted to, be on a FaceTime with someone across the world within no time. And like, I think it builds such a beautiful community, and hopefully I'm hoping that it'll allow us all to feel more as one. Mm-hmm. Whereas I'm sure like back like a long time ago when we didn't have phones, then we had to find our people, and I'm Italian, I'm Scottish, this is what we do, like this is our church, this is our whatever, because we didn't have enough of like an outreach to understand what everybody else was doing. Mm-hmm. I think it's actually really cool right now that like this is probably the most that we've all been connected, which is sick, like really, really sick.
Yeah, and it's uncharted territory.
It is.
Like,
we're all like, what is happening?
Yeah, for sure. And we haven't had a lot of time to, I think like I'm really hard on myself, and I think in a lot of ways society is really hard on itself, meaning that it's like, it's easy to get mad at ourselves for not knowing how to handle it all. But we've never had to handle all of this before. So it's like, of course we don't know how to handle it. We're like working on it. We're working. Like I feel bad for celebrities too. Like the basic idea of celebrity. Like we're here talking about Timothée Chalamet, and I do want to just like caveat again that I don't want to be talking like punching down on anybody.
No.
And like the idea that I would be punching down on an Academy Award nominee is pretty insane. But it's like on this podcast. But meaning like I really appreciate the art that he's creating. However, he's getting there, go nuts. You know, I think that's really wonderful. But it's like I never have like celebrities. The whole concept used to be we are unattainable. We are inaccessible. And now it's like you are under the burden of seeming inaccessible. And like you have the ideal life, but you also have to be in constant communication with everybody. That's two completely different paradigms that they're being asked to juggle at the same time. It's like being heads and tails at the same time. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. It's
it
like
is
they have to balance, like they have to flip the coin and balance it every single day. And that's a lot of work. I don't know, and I try to bring as much compassion into that whenever I'm like, this celebrity said this, and then I just try to be like, and poor Brie she's got to hear me be like, big opinion, and then be like, but everybody's trying their best.
Yeah. Well, I think also it's something that's interesting is that I think that there's a way to navigate, like as you step into this world, not saying that like, not every actor is stepping into being an actor because they want to be rich and famous. I don't think anyways. I think like you have a passion and it's something that you enjoy. But I think that as you are navigating your career as an actor and your face may begin to be seen more and more, you actually have the power, I believe, I don't know, because I'm kind of just speaking, I don't know. But I think you have the power to kind of guide how much of your face you want to be showing, right? Especially right now, like, you could have someone that's on TikTok every single day being like, I'm going, like, come with me to do this. This is my outfit of the day, right? Like, you could be that kind of celebrity. Or are you the person that, like, doesn't post anything ever? You don't even have Instagram, but you're showing up and you're in these big movies. And all you ever want people to see is you as that character, and maybe you're on a red carpet every so often. Like, you have the power now to think about how much you want to be viewed and seen, which is really kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I'm watching Love Story right now. Have you seen it?
The show?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
The show. It's about JF Kennedy Jr. and his wife.
Okay.
And they just kind of went through this thing. His sister was talking about the fact of like, you have a choice. We were raised as Kennedys. And obviously like, that's really hard, but I worked my whole life on my own privacy. And apparently she wrote books about it or something like that. So everyone has a precedent of like, it becomes a whole other thing, right? Like now you're dealing with a whole other thing, but if you wanted to be private, you can be private. Yep. If you want to be out there and saying things, then you go on podcasts and you show yourself out there often. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But obviously it does suck though that like if you do say something and everyone's coming at your throat, like you didn't plan that.
No.
But so you have to be aware of like the things that you're saying, which is crazy.
Yeah. Well, and it's also wild too, the things that people go after people's throats about on the internet are things that they would never go at your throat in real life, right?
Yeah.
But it's funny, that concept of privacy. It's like I was recently doing a deep dive of all things, and I don't know why, into Enya. Do you know who Enya is? So she's like one of the most popular musicians of all time, one of the biggest selling musicians of all time. Like any elevator music that you have ever heard is all Enya. Like, and like if you go home and Google her, you'll be like, oh my God, like of course I know who Enya is. And she owns a castle in Ireland.
Oh, maybe I've heard about this person.
Yeah, that she outbid Bono for. And she just releases freaking albums. She's performed live, I think, 3 times in the past 15 years. And like composed the theme music to the freaking Lord of the Rings. Not all of it, but like specific songs for it, and it's just like, you will never see this woman in public, ever. And it's like, but she's one of the most popular musicians on the planet.
You get to choose what you want.
You absolutely do get to choose. And I think this is a real problem with like the way that kind of victimhood culture has proliferated over the internet, is this idea that like life is not, like, don't get me wrong, life in its entirety is not in our control. The sun could burp and just our entire lives.
Fair.
But there is something to the Nietzschean idea that like radical responsibility, like you are in control of yourself, positive and negative.
I mean, you should be. I think that also like maybe what growing up or like aging inside of this world is just understanding more and more like who you are and what you want to be and become, right, and what you want to show off. You know what I mean? Like understanding your boundaries and your precedents. Like I think that that's what growing up is, right? Yeah. Like, when you're little, you're like, oh, everyone's going out drinking, I'm gonna start drinking. Oh, wow, when I was a tiny person, but like when I have 2 drinks, I'm blackout. Right. But I'm gonna keep drinking, and now all of a sudden I'm doing this and that. Now you go, okay, like that actually doesn't work for the person that I wanna become. Right. I can't keep doing that. So what do I need to change to now alter things and to continue to become the thing that I aspire to be?
Right.
You know?
And this is such a personal accountability thing. And this is like it seems like you're coming at this pretty young and at like a really great like time, because your star does seem to be rising. Like what a good time to like have a clear picture of who you are.
I need it. I think that also you kind of do like, you need to know. I don't know how an actor could step into things so honestly, like big things, and not know who they are, because you're gonna get lost.
And I think a lot of people do. But and I would say that's true of any profession. You know, if you're like 21 and all of a sudden somebody is just like, you're the CEO of Goldman Sachs, like odds are gonna get.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take a hot sec here and talk about the partnership we have going on with Othership, which is a super cool place. I mentioned them in the intro. I do genuinely go to Othership every Friday. I got sober a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, hot damn. And going there has replaced going to the bar for me. It's a really cool social place. I quite love the process of the sauna and the cold plunge. I enjoy doing hard things, and there's something about the experience that really resonates with me, and it resonates with a lot of actors that I know. So if you're into the wellness journey and all that stuff, you can check out our partnership with them. With the code Douglas Nyback, you can get 11% off all of your classes and packs. There's also a 2-for-1 deal if you're a first timer. So you get 2 passes for the price of 1, which is super excellent. You can use for yourself or for a guest. The links are in the description down below. And you can also get 1 month free of the Breathwork app, which I use very often. Anyway, I quite like these things. And that's why we're partnering with them, because I friggin' enjoy Othership. And I think it genuinely makes my life better, and I think it'll make your life better. So check it out. If you feel so inclined, now let's get back to the show. Appreciate you. This idea of knowing oneself, like I want to go back to something that I flagged early when you were saying that there were periods where, like in between gigs, where you hadn't been working for like long stretches of time, which I think every actor goes through. And you mentioned like having some darkness during those times, and I first want to check and see if you're comfortable talking about some of that stuff.
That's fine. Yeah.
So, like, I'm curious how one, how that darkness manifests, because it's mine has manifested in a lot of different ways, and like came down to we were talking about Sean Benson earlier, but like Sean and I talked about this a lot because he had addiction issues and I had addiction issues. But I'm curious. Mine manifested in bourbon and not being very nice to myself or others. And I'm curious how yours, how you have handled that and how that's changed over the years.
I know that like definitely during COVID, rough. I think it's one of those things. I think that it was a beautiful thing to happen because you really had to be by yourself and ask yourself, what is going on, right? Yeah. You didn't have the distraction of like, okay, I'm just gonna keep going out and keep hanging out with people and keep blah, 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 blah. And I definitely like, anybody who knows me, they're like, you're an Energizer bunny. Like, if I could be up at 7 a.m. every single day, go to bed at 5 a.m. and only get 3 hours of sleep, I can function like that and I will be fine.
Damn.
Yes.
You're different.
Yes. I do not need sleep. But the thing is like, for myself, I've learned more like, hey, Devin, like, you don't need to keep expanding yourself and going out and meeting people and doing all those things. Even though you can, it's not going to function well for you in terms of like your grounding, to be honest. Especially just because, as I was saying before, like I just take on people's energies like a lot. Not being like, oh, I'm an empath, but like when I'm hanging out with someone, then I'm gonna take on their stuff. And so the more people that I keep meeting and stuff like that, I'm taking on all that stuff, and now I'm confused with what I'm doing, right?
Right.
So I've learned like, okay, I need to like you're allowed to sit alone for a while, a long time. Sometimes you'll see me, and sometimes I'll be gone for weeks, you know?
Yeah.
And now having friends in my life that understand that I will come and go. But probably, the darkest time, it was true. I mean, I was still young, so it's okay that I was drinking so much. But I think it's that. Like, it's like, you know, I don't know, just like crying so much, not being able to see through things. I would say like cutting back on alcohol really does help with clarity.
Yes.
You don't realize how much that drug is like, it's not whatever, but it is. It's like, you don't know how much that is affecting your perception of self and the perception of the world.
Yep.
It's so cloudy. And then there was a time, me and my ex like smoked a lot of weed. Yep. It's not like I when I was younger, I was just huge for like kind of morphing into the people that I was around. So not that I love smoking weed, but because he smoked weed, then I'm there just like, okay, sure, we'll smoke weed. And I think also like weed was not good for me. And like for somebody to know me before I did like started smoking and drinking a bunch like that, they would be like, they could easily come up to me and be like, Devin, you need to just cut all that stuff out, right? Like then you're gonna be yourself. But you can't really hear that. And especially I created a lifestyle that was then adapting to that. So it was almost like I was really mad at myself because I was like, okay, I understand I'm really honestly not booking things because I am not healthy. you know?
Right.
Like that's really what it is. And now being mad at myself that I'm not booking things because I'm not healthy.
Yeah.
And I created this life for myself that is only going to put me more in a pit.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's about crawling out of somewhere that I don't know why I created it.
Yeah.
Did I hate myself? Maybe. Or was it just like, I thought it was going to be fine. I thought it was going to be just a habit. And then it wasn't a habit anymore, you know? So I think that once I stopped honestly smoking weed, and like, I still will go out and have fun with my friends. I've got my friends that like, I'm like, you are the girls that I drink with, and I love our times out, but I'm not drinking every night. You know what I mean? But when you're young too, like, what is the difference? Like when you're in university, everyone's drinking every night. You know what I mean? So it's that coming out of university, I think, when you start to be like, oh, I need to be an adult now. But like, I was drinking every single night, and like, now what does that look like? And what do relationships look like without, you know, going and meeting somebody for a drink every night, you know? How do I maintain those relationships? Where am I moving forward? So yeah, I think like the getting a grip on my substance abuse, maybe.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy, but yeah,
then
then I became clear with why I love acting and like why it's so important to me.
Right.
And then immediately, then it opened up the world of being like, great, the universe is like, oh, now it's clear. We understand why you want this. Here are the things that are going to help you continue to have this.
Yes.
But if you are not clear, because you're clouded, it's, yeah, I think it's substance, honestly, that clouds you.
This is a real, like, first of all, thank you for, you know, being willing to talk about all that stuff. Like it is hard stuff to talk about. And it's really interesting to me because the number of people who smoke weed every day that like tell me about manifesting, I'm like, the f you know you're manifesting. You're viewing life through
a
fucking,
different,
like,
well, and also
like
when you're smoking weed, then you'd think that it's fine because like, but your brain waves are different. You're not sober. I don't know.
It's
though.
also really tough, like, because I found, especially during the pandemic, like, and listen, like the pandemic, my drinking skyrocketed is one of the reasons why I got sober. But
I think honestly, the pandemic was the reason why a lot of people got sober.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful thing that happened for a lot of people, even though it was rough.
Yeah, totally. And I think there was a weird little cultural narrative that like weed was a mental health tool.
I mean, that's what I thought, right?
Yeah, it's fascinating. And it's just like, oh no, it turns out it's like really bad for you. But yeah, I find all that fascinating, and I'm glad that you found your way to the other end of it. But I also really understand and relate to that idea of like on the other side of it, you emerge with like, oh, well, this is who I am. And for me, like you were coming at this, I think, a fair bit younger than I did. Like I had piled on like at least a decade more of, you know, behavior in life under those influences. And then I had the added of like getting on the other side of it and being like, oh, well, this is me. And oh no, maybe I don't like that very much. And then had to sit with myself in a way that was, you know, not always the most pleasant, and a lot of sharp edges, and a lot of just being like, okay, well, since I'm not drinking, I guess I just got to be myself tonight. And not my favorite pastime, apparently, until it like got better, you know?
I know.
It's a wild thing.
It's crazy to sit with yourself. I think, I don't know, but I mean, I didn't mean to run away from myself, and I don't even think I was doing it, but I think getting caught up in the smoke of it all, then you just do. You lose it. And then I think that your life starts to kind of reflect that. Through time, it has to. Otherwise, you're going to go down a wrong path. But, you know, relationships start to move away from you, and different things start to get pulled away from you. And you're going, until you finally are left alone to sit there and look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I hate myself.
Sure.
Oh my God, what have I been doing? Why did I do all that stuff? Why am I such a, why am I such a bad person? All that kind of stuff. And you still got to go over that hurdle of all the reasons why you hate yourself. And then you can finally sit in the pit at the bottom of the darkness and climb your way back out. And that is totally okay. And I suggest it to everyone. Like, I really do think that everyone should do that. And because also sometimes I will meet people that are my age or older that didn't actually even like jump into anything. Not saying that it's okay, but like they're very like compliant. Like they never dove. I would say that like something I'm proud of myself is that I dive into everything, right?
You
And I'm
definitely seem like
happy,
somebody who
yeah. And I'm
in.
happy to get my knees scratched, and I'm happy to learn again and again and again. And I love that kind of type of personality trait in people. Those are the type of people that I'm the most attracted to. People that have stayed safe forever and haven't gone to the pits of hell within themselves. I'm not judging, but I'm just like, oh, I wonder if that'll ever come for them, or maybe they get to live like a nice, simple life. But I think that it's a beautiful thing. The polar opposites of lows and highs is something that like I have always had, and I really love it.
I couldn't agree more, and I also do think that this is something that is a trait that is about that is at the core of the DNA of like an artist. Because it's interesting too. You were just saying like, you know, not everybody might not need that, because the life that they're living might not require it.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Which is also totally fine.
Yeah.
You know, but the life that you are clearly passionate about, like this life as a multifaceted artist, it very clearly does.
Yeah.
And I think it reflects in your work. I think it reflects in like even just your presence and the willingness to have this conversation. Like we just went into a pretty intense place, and you and I don't even know each other, not really, you know, but that willingness I think is such.
You ask the right questions, and I'm an open book. You know what I mean?
Well, this is great. This is great, but also like a willingness, like that is a superpower that I think is so easy to overlook, and I think is really admirable, and I'm so grateful to have like kind of had access to it. I know we do have to kind of start also bringing the pod into land, and I'm usually I do this by asking a question that's like pretty universal, which is if you could go back in time, which is very apropos for you and your and
Time travel series.
season 3 of season 4.
We just did season 3, and now season 4 is coming out.
Yeah,
April
season 4 is coming out for The Way Home. If you could go back in time and give just starting out Devin one piece of advice, what would it be?
Like, I think that I would. Well, it's always that thing of like, I'd love to like give her a little hug.
Yeah.
And just be like, we're gonna go through the thick of it, you know? But you're never gonna lose sight of yourself or your dreams, even though it will feel like it at certain points. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very proud of like the person that I continue to become. And I'm so happy. Like my favorite thing is honestly looking back at myself when I was little, because there's like this. My mom always told me when I first came into the world or whatever, she just was like, you always knew who you were. I could literally stand up in front of anyone and I would sing my heart out. And I was always like, these are the things that I want to accomplish. And everybody that met me when I was like 6, they were like, damn, that's a little girl that knows what she wants. If anything, I wish that I could talk to that little girl, because she knows probably more than I do, you know? So yeah, just be like, keep doing you, but also it's gonna be harder than it looks. Like,
Yeah.
like I wish that we could have just kept our little starlight and kept going through.
Yeah.
But then like, yeah, this is the journey of life, you know? So it's okay.
Yeah, isn't that like, it's funny, I remember being told early on, like by everybody who was teaching me, it's gonna be really hard, it's gonna be really hard. And it's just like, now I'm like, oh, you don't know the half of it. Like, it's so, like the process of being alive and the process of like really trying to mine life to live a fully felt life.
Yes.
Like that like there's all sorts of toll booths.
Yes.
And it's not cheap at any of them.
No.
You know, and yeah, that really resonates with me. And been there. It's cool having spent just like this little bit of time with you. You're such an easy person to root for, you know. And the work that I've seen you do is you are so unique, and you are so charismatic, and you bring such and this isn't true of every actor. Like there's a lot of actors who are trying to blend in, which is also can be very useful.
Yeah.
But you don't. And,
I can't. I've tried. I don't know how.
and what a beautiful thing to learn that lesson at the stage that you're at.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very clear to me that the industry is responding to you. And I think that makes complete sense. Like it's, and I'm really excited about where you're going to go next. And I feel really grateful to have had the opportunity to have this conversation with you at the stage that you're at, which is like growth points starting to really like
trying to figure out
everything,
everything,
you know, which is so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Honestly,
yeah, my pleasure.
This has really been kind of interesting and cool, and it's nice to, just be able to sit down and reflect. Also with someone that's like gone on a similar journey, you know, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And you know, for audience, you know, this will probably be coming out actually around the time that Way Home Season 4 is coming out. So y'all got to check that out. Check out Way Home, and
it's a whole load of crazy stuff now.
Oh, and you guys just cleaned up. Wayward just cleaned up at the GLAAD Awards, right?
Yes, Wayward's been doing so good. I was
chatting with Carolina Barczyk, is a dear friend of mine, and you worked with her on your rep of that, and I'm so pleased at how great that show is.
That's also a beautiful show. Even still to this day, people like find it and are like, "Oh my God, this is such a beautiful show." Also, I didn't even know that you do this. Do you know what I mean? Like people from my past will be like, "Devin, I saw you in this. Oh my God, you're doing great." And I'm like, "Thank you." The show is so beautiful. The premise of it, and Mae Martin, the creator, like there's so many things that have to click to make something really special. And I feel like I'm so grateful that I'm a part of 2 shows that are really, really special. And so now, just back to auditioning again, and crossing my fingers that I land in another good spot. Because sometimes you do book things and like, it's not, it's not as fulfilling.
Yeah.
There's times when things are very fulfilling and you're like, this is exactly where I need to be. And there's things that you book and you're like, damn, maybe this is just for the paycheck. You know?
Yeah. And that's okay. I think a lot of actors put pressure on themselves to have everything be like a life-altering gig, and sometimes you got to pay the rent, and that's like that makes sense, you know. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know. Okay, cool. Well, listen, I feel like I could talk to you for ages. I feel like 20 minutes ago I was like, time to wrap this up. But you're freaking great. And,
thank you.
And I wish you nothing but the best, and thank you again.
Thank you.
Look at us.
You're freaking great.
Look at us here in this podcast. All right, here we are. You reached the end of the podcast episode. Perhaps the end of all things. And if it is the end of all things, I'm glad we were here together. Thank you. If you're here at the end, honestly, you're a real one. The long form content is great. I freaking love podcasts, and everybody that I watch on YouTube creates like 30-minute and up to an hour and a half videos, and I watch them all. I drink them up, but not everybody's like that. So I appreciate that you're here. Please do follow us on socials at Nyback, TikTok, Instagram. I create separate content out there, which is really cool and geared towards acting as well. And I'm just grateful that you're here. I'm really grateful. Do please subscribe if you liked it. Tell all your friends, like us, rate us, do all the things that people need people to do. I know it's an irritating ask, but you know, you just don't grow without it. So thank you. And I hope that this episode was good for you. I hope you learned some stuff. I hope you had a great time getting to know Devin. It is a great joy of my life to be able to chat with folks in this way and get to know people the way that I'm able to get to know them on this podcast. And 40 episodes is a lot. It's wild. And I feel like we are just getting started. So thank you for being here through episode 40. I'm 40 years old. Hot diggity. Look at us. Look how far we've come. All right, listen, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna leave it here. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate you very much. Go be people.